In the summertime, I was just driving in my car and happened to have the Broadway channel on, and I heard this glorious song, and I kept thinking, like, what is that? I couldn't identify it, so I pulled over, and it was Face to Face. And I looked at, my car and said Face to Face, War Paint, and I thought, why don't I know about this? So I don't remember exactly where I was, but I knew I was in proximity to a Barnes & Noble. So I went to Barnes & Noble and I said, do you happen to have this on CD? And oddly enough, there it was. I went out into the parking lot and I listened to the whole CD just sitting in my car. And I thought, this is really glorious music, and it has to be a really unique story. Tech Week is everybody. Like, it's a mandatory, everybody's here, everybody comes at the same time, everybody leaves together.
It's really a time to kind of to fix things that need fixed, but also really just polish things and kind of like put that cherry on top.
Everybody's a lot more stressed during Tech Week, and people are a lot more strict during Tech Week because our show's in a week.
It's more so treated as performances, where if mistakes are made, things aren't stopped. You carry on as you would on stage.
It's a really fun time, it's a really crazy time, but it definitely helps to kind of pull the whole show together.
What should come out first is the TV. Got it? So from downstage, behind the grab, TV's got to be ready very first. So get the TV. That should be the first thing that comes out before all of you. Got it? Yeah. So number ends. Bump. TVs, then you. TVs, then you guys. Then what? One of these chairs is not leaving, right? Yeah. Good job. Ready? Go. Go. Move. What do you want us? They can take it off. They'll be small, they'll be on a chair. Who wants to be a cameraman woman? Oh, look at this. She wants to be a cameraman woman. Come here. Okay, I'm sending you a camera woman. Somebody tell her what to do. I have two student directors back here that are golden. They run everything backstage. They made the movement plots. They man the kids. I can't ask for better.
There's a lot more responsibility. Like, as student director, you have to assign each of the tech people what they have to move, and then just figure out all those logistics. And you're responsible for your tech people, so it's kind of more stressful.
You have to know everything pretty much. Like, there can't be something you forget, because if one of your techies forgets, you have to be the one to remind them. You have to be the one to know when things go out, know when things go off, know what's supposed to be out there, who's supposed to be out there. You know everything pretty much.
Once I became student director, I became a lot more focused and more aware of everything going on around me.
Remember, whoever takes the item closest to the wings, that goes first. Jada and Olivia, I'm going to think about putting a bigger bottom on the table.
What I did to help myself was I made a spreadsheet of all the scenes and what was supposed to be out during those scenes, who takes it on, who was going to take it off, and I just printed that and had it up on our side of the stage so that people could refer to it.
Make a list of that sequence. Typing while we're here. Okay, what I'm saying is just a list of what Act 1, Scene 1 is, what Act 2, Scene 2 is, yeah? Because I don't think I have a list like that unless we make one for the program. Yeah, if somebody, or if you want to do that, Sydney, while you're up here, you have a laptop. So maybe in between scenes today, when you're sitting out here, you can do that. Okay, we're gonna go up and down today. Got it? It's just a run sequence. So you guys set what needs to be done. I'm gonna send them up.
We're putting mics on 22 actors who are like main characters with lines or like chorus characters with lines. But we have 21 mic packs, so there are 2 people who are sharing.
To meld in microphones for a show like this, not everybody can have his or her own microphone if you're a minor figure.
So this is the mic pack with your typical like earpiece element, and that's how you're gonna get people coming through the speakers. And you put like double A's in there. And then what we're doing right now is we're taking these nice pockets and these elastic strips with Velcro, and basically you just fit the actor around the waist so they can wear it under their costume. There are 3 of us plus BJ, who's like the supervisor, who's an adult, not a student.
I don't operate the equipment, the students operate the equipment, but I design what's called the sound plot and how things are going to be set up and do all the technicality of sound. The thing about it is if you have these areas that have hair, the hair is going to go away, you're going to start pulling it out. The other thing is, so the other thing you don't want to do is stress the element. We always keep saying that. Stress the element, don't stress the wires, don't. But we can stress the actors. I'm kidding. But
Mackenzie, you're going to be bald by the end of this.
Bleaching my hair did it already.
But it is important to do it fast. So you want to anchor the cable with your thumb, and then get a hold of the piece and just take it out. Now you can see, right?
It'll be pinned back though. Like
Already, see? Yeah. So that's just, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But same thing up front here.
It's their fault for having hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just pull it quick. Pull them quick. Don't drag them off, because that's going to be a problem. Same thing back here. Pull it quick, and you can see what's going on. We're pulling hair out of it,
So any noise that you make will be heard through the speakers. Is that terrifying?
A little bit. They're not they don't read that well, so you can get away with whispering and stuff, but it's a little scary.
Yeah, because I've heard people clear their throat or something, and it you can
reverberates.
hear it a little bit. Yeah. So you really have to have self-control, and you need to be constantly checking what you're doing, what noises you're making.
And also the people around you, people will try to whisper stuff to you backstage, and you're you don't want everyone to hear this, do you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
How often does your mic have to get muted or turned on and off? Is it a lot, or is it?
It's every single time you talk, and even if there's a 30-second break, they'll slide it up and down.
So they're not worried about anyone making any unnecessary noise during other dialogue and stuff?
Yeah, and it definitely gets a lot more refined during showtime. You'll hear a lot of extraneous noises now just because everyone's still just getting used to everything.
Mm-hmm, sure. Yeah, so how many dances do you have? How many, dance scenes do you have?
Personally, I need to count. Okay. Step On Out, Necessity, Behind the Red Door is pretty intensive. I think those are the 3 big ones, so just 3 big ones. Because this isn't really a dancey show. I have no formal training, which is pretty standard for people at just a high school. And our choreographer is really great, so she makes the steps really easy to pick up even if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, looks like she's always getting out a hand, in case anyone needs any advice, any questions, she's ready to answer them. So
she's a 3rd grade teacher, so compared to them, I'm great at dancing.
How long does it usually take you to learn your learn the dance moves, the choreography and everything?
We usually split it up into 2 days or maybe 3, but I'd say 8 to 12 hours of rehearsal.
My name is Monica Swartz, and I am the musical choreographer. So as for the choreography, I do create it myself. So a lot of times I use inspiration from the musical itself that you could find online, or the documents, reading the script. Some shows have a lot more information out there than others. War Paint was brand new, so that was a really fun challenge for us. There was nothing to really base it off of except for our own research we conducted, but it was a great challenge to be able to make up my own choreography for those numbers.
Forward for her line. You guys stay there. Okay, then after that, you're looping around the back with your person.
So your person isn't here right now, Macy. So you're with Hannah. Go cut through Sydney and Grace. Walk a loop around. Big loop around to come up to the other side. Yes, perfect. Okay, show me that. 6, 7, 8. Drag. Close. Drag. Close. Okay, keep working on that. Then after that, you do your little jazz square. You will walk into each other first. Walk in, walk in, walk in, walk in. Then jazz square. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you pivot, turn on your ripple count. Macy, you go 5, 6. Then Hannah and Alexis go 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you walk off the stage. Because it's Hannah on this side?
Yeah.
Okay, because then Hannah's there, and then, was Grace here or was Grace here?
I think Grace was on the end there.
She must have. On the end, because one of you would have been on the end, then who's our other one, Bree?
Yes.
Someone's on either side. Maya's like, I don't know where I am.
Maya was between us.
Okay, so Maya's here.
I know Grace is over there,
So then that means Bree there. This is where you are staying the shape the whole time. Remember, you don't move, you just kind of like gesture on your like point.
So I kind of like to start with a few basic skills, kind of to get their feet wet about what we're going to be jumping into choreography-wise. Kind of practice some of the major moves first that will come up in the number, and then I start to piece it together in order, and then we go from learning all of it to rehearsing it to then kind of adjusting and making any changes that we need to.
I was next to Bree.
Then maybe, well then
So
maybe
I think Sydney was over
Sydney,
there.
actually you're on the end then. If you were next to Bree, then Bree's
and
here,
I
then
was
you're
here,
here.
and Bree was here. But then you moved. Because you separated me and Grace, and I was next to Bree. So I'm just like.
I also changed the shape like 20 times because we weren't on the same page. I just happened. We can't do it well, it's not gonna lie. Stay there then.
Okay.
And then just tell Bree to be there, Grace on the end. Okay, cool. Better. Thanks for checking. Is everyone okay with whatchamacallit now too, inside of the jar?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not, we totally threw field because Hannah's not here either. I feel like if Hannah was here, you really could have like followed her loop for most of it, so, sorry guys. Nothing good for a loop there.
We're trying not to get roasted for this one this time, so.
You'll do good. I'm gonna pop back in so I can catch necessity because I haven't seen that one in a while, okay?
We're in the first week of 2 weeks of Tech Week right now, and it's going great. I think we'll definitely be ready to film by Friday next week.
I'll give 'em my two bits. What more have I ever needed than the sharpness of my wits? Don't rush too much. America is in it. Let working women win it. In makeup of the minute, women win. Necessity is the mother of invention. Let the fight of the century begin. And strike! Go, go, go!
Attention all you brave gals finding at home and shipping overseas. You've got a brand new ally and her name is Helena Rubinstein.
So it was definitely intimidating to have to try a Polish accent, and thankfully I had Frau to coach me through that.
Yeah, it's always scary when you ask a kid to do an accent if you don't already know that they can or they have the potential. Again, the irony was last year's production of Young Frankenstein would have shown the community Kyra Carlson doing this pseudo-Germanic kind of accent as Frau Blucher. So we knew she had somewhat of a trainable ear. And we went into auditions really not knowing who was going to end up with what. It was clear to us that Stella had to be Helena Rubinstein on a number of levels. And very clear to us that Kyra was the perfect Elizabeth Arden out of our talent pool. But then, of course, it's like, oh no, now she has to have an accent. And I take that very seriously. I love language and love accents.
I just gave it a shot, and Frau kind of told me, okay, so your W's are going to be V's now, which like at first that kind of blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, every time I say where, what, when, it's going to be there, what, then, you know.
And I said to Stella, well, since it's pandemic time and things were pretty serious when we started still, I said, you and I just via computer are going to go back and forth because I have to be able to see your face. Because you do a lot of like, you know, like how wide is your mouth open and where is your lip and tongue placement for words. And I know that sounds silly, but it's so true. It's really athletic. You have to kind of retrain your face and retrain your mouth.
And so it was, at first I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but then I just kind of got used to it.
So we went literally word by word through the script once I did some exercises with her to kind of cultivate the sound of the phrasing. And Stella would repeat after me, take notes. I would have her give things back to me, or I would do like, no, brrr versus brr. You know, there's a difference between like, really, or Arden.
I just kept talking basically each line, and Frau corrected some things when I messed up, and then I just kind of practiced on my own then, and once again I kept going through reading the lines aloud.
She took to it pretty quickly. I think she was a little afraid at first because she's never done an accent. None of our leads this year had ever had a leading role either, so they were untried in terms of taking on a really big job, and plus then Stella had this extra layer. And I said, you just got to go for it. You got to be a true believer and you got to go for it. I think she and I had 2 or 3 sessions on laptops, and we didn't even finish the script. I just said, you have it, go for it, and we'll play with it in rehearsal. And remarkably so. I mean, it's natural. She doesn't even have to think about it.
And it really just becomes like second nature. And now I don't even think twice.
Fight united for once in coexistence. For too obstinate to bend our fences, too competitive to let her win the race. We cling to our instinctive grudges, like true horses in an endless steeplechase. What a rebel with a mask of makeup, just to talk, not to spar, man to man, queen to queen, on a par, in our fall from grace.
Tech Week involves so much time management for me. I spend a good chunk of the day at school, and then I have a couple hours at home to eat, maybe rest, get some homework done if I can, and then I'm back at rehearsal for a while, go home again, finish whatever homework I can before sleeping. So I definitely have to manage, when can I get this assignment done? When can I go over these lines? And I have to meticulously plan out my days to make sure that I can get everything done that I need to.
The senator shall be sent a note anonymously.
Of course.
Oh, that's rich.
The scientist from the shtetl. It's pure kitsch. The chemistry she invents.
That sly bitch. Should Congress expose her witch's kettle, her cachet
will sink in its own pretense.
Harry.
So far we're doing Act 1, all those scenes, just the numbers though, so I don't think we did scene, I think it was like scene 7, we didn't run because there wasn't a number in it, so we're just working on like the choreography and just the singing.
Short notes.
Daily presses here to meet my bone.
Measure 12.
Simply on the word and you make bold. America, your wait is through. At this my new New York debut, I cannot wait to reinstate my show back on top.
The way the orchestra's set up, we don't play with the full orchestra even throughout all of our practices until we're at Tech Week. So that's when everyone gets to hear everyone, and it's kind of like a new experience for everyone at that moment.
Like that's the little break thing. It's on the and the 4 like into that.
Why don't you just put it on B4?
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
That way it's nice and clean.
Wait, so
I'll give you 4 and I'll
the vocal at 18 is what? Patience, dear. And then there's the break, and then there's the dance. Okay.
So patience here is 1.
Okay.
And folks at 19, I can't see a singer, so you guys gonna have to we're just gonna have to follow her.
It's a lot of playing. A lot of repetitive, like just going over the same, not really like I guess the same songs, but it's kind of like an extra practice, to be honest. Being able to listen to what the actors are doing and singing and just playing together as a group.
To add to this, I have such families today. My sons don't call, my husband cheats. Now they can't pay that over seats. I'm back on top of high in Bauhaus lettering am I. So modern you could not, with stainless steel, slick decor, black to that so on the floor, top to bottom, glamour I'll supply. Right?
You sell actual cosmetics.
Tech week is pretty stressful because we're at the school from like 4 o'clock to like 10 o'clock, or it like depends on like what she wants done that day.
Sometimes we start like 4 or 5 o'clock because we have adults that are crew people and people that come into the pit. Sometimes we'll start right after school and those people will trickle in. It really depends. It depends on the need of the staff and the show that particular year. But yeah, we 5 hours is like natural, normal for us.
But like there's a lot of countless hours spent during tech week, and tech week is like 2 weeks pretty much, so it's like just after school all the time. There's not much time to do stuff other than musical.
It's a little more like if the kids go to a band festival, sometimes they leave at 8 in the morning and they come home at 10 o'clock at night. It's kind of like that. The only difference is there's not a lot of waiting. You're constantly doing something.
I think it's more so just hectic and stressful. I mean, I guess me being a senior at this point is kind of like, well, I've been doing this, and you kind of learn how to time manage. That definitely helps. But I would say it's just more hectic in figuring out how to plan out your day and your week.
Yeah, no waiting for her to say. Want to do something? It's time to play. Make it really big. Okay, don't pull it down under her as she talks because there's other sound. Let that sound roll.
The jobs that happen in sound are varied. The primary jobs are sound effects, which are bells, whistles, phone ringing, cannons, that kind of stuff. So there's sound effects.
Do it again, Johnny.
It's so wonderful to be back in Manhattan. Helena Rubinstein, then. Helena Rubinstein.
Then there is someone who reads the script. That's the person that sits next. And then there's the actual sound, if you want to call it the sound engineer. That's the person that actually runs the board and turns things on and off, turns microphones on and off, the various different pieces of equipment on and off.
Daily presses here to meet my board. Simply on over and you may fall. America, your fate is through. At this my New York debut, I cannot fail to reinstate my shot. Back on top.
There's a lot of stuff floating around in the air. I mean, there's a ton of things. You know, people turning lights on, there's wireless, there's, you know, all kinds of things that we're doing wirelessly. Everything from cell phones to remotes to turn TV sets on and off. And so, and again, what we get is these bursts of static, and it drives us nuts, or the mic drops out. And what we do there is we have a range of frequencies that we can put those microphones in, and we just have to kind of, through trial and error, put them where they're going to behave the best they can.
So this end is going to connect up there, and it connects to this headset, and up there are headsets. 2 headsets on stage, one in the sound booth, one in the lighting booth, and one for Frau, and we can just like communicate through them.
So basically what it does is it connects everyone so we can hear what Frau says and communicate back to her. So if anything goes wrong, we're able to communicate that to her.
If somebody else wants to go to Rubinstein's desk, take that tray, Frau. Turn it long ways on the side.
Basically what we do is we set the set pieces and any props that go along with that and just take them on and off stage. Our main job is just to make the actors look good.
During a show, it can get really stressful and crazy backstage, but this year we have really good tech people that stay focused during everything. Even if there is a problem, we figure it out and solve it right away.
My proudest accomplishment would be working on the Step On Out number. That number, we had also a large group, and we had some guys dancing as well, many of who didn't have much of a dance background, and I always enjoy that challenge because they get to have fun and do something they've probably never done before and learn some new moves.
I haven't had to learn much choreography this year because I haven't had as big of a part before. The closest thing was last year I had the Hermit, and that was like I had one full scene where I had to learn music and lines and choreography.
So we got to work on some partnering moves with the guys and girls paired together and a really big jazz swinging number. And that number was also fun for the challenge it gave me working in and out of the scene.
This choreography was much different than the choreography I've had to learn in the past. This was a lot more swing dancing and everything like that, and more facial expressions than actually dancing on stage. It came to a point, like in a lot of the numbers, we're kind of just standing still and we have to choreograph our bodies and everything like that to make the number enjoyable to watch.
The song was so long and there was a lot of unique set changes in it that would have happened on stage. So I really enjoyed working on that number because of all of those things.
It's been fun. It's a lot more pressure than it was before, strictly because of how much I need to learn now. But other than that, it's not much different. Same people, same energy, same as always.
Do you get overwhelmed with how many lines and dances and
Honestly, I wouldn't say as much strictly because I'm good at memorizing things, so I don't have much issue with that. It has been a bit difficult to balance everything because of everything that's going on right now, obviously. But other than that, no, not really.
Is it because I'm a divorcee? Oh, gracious, no! Why on earth, Lizzie, please? I deserve an explanation. For a woman to have money is one thing, but to earn it? Surely you understand the distinction.
Okay, you need to look out here on to earn it. But to earn it, like uncomfortably, look out to us. Then surely you understand. Do that again.
For a woman to have money is one thing, but to earn it? Surely you understand the distinction.
I do. One is chance, the other a mark of good character.
Those with less tact might call it nouveau.
Is that what you'd call it?
I'm heartbroken, I am. What else would you like me to say? I'll tell Freddie to post the champagne to my account.
Frau definitely is our main teacher when it comes to acting. When we do an initial read-through of the script, Frau helps us a lot with interp, and sometimes when we're having trouble, she can help us figure out what a character might be thinking at a certain time in the show. She knows how the characters should hold themselves, and she helps us to learn how to move around correctly.
Move your head. Move your head, boy. Up. Yes, yes. Now go back. Look, look. Throw some more. Yes. You gotta do something while she's talking. Otherwise, it's like, just get hit with the apple. You got it?
She also can point out different things whenever we're doing something wrong. So for example, if we say a line incorrectly, or we need to say it differently, or we're moving incorrectly, or something just isn't working on stage, she jumps right in and tells us how we can do it correctly. And if we're having trouble, she'll even come up on stage and walk through it for us, and we can watch her and repeat it. So she's probably the main teacher when it comes to all of the acting, and plays a major role even in the singing and dancing, just how our characters should be on stage.
Me, yeah, I feel beautiful. Forever beautiful. Yeah, something else? Yeah. Now you have two more. Mm-hmm. So let the fourth one take you into your big throwaway, like ta-da, right? Yeah. It's the money number. So I feel beautiful. Beautiful. When you feel beautiful.
I look at my life so far, and I am beautiful, and I feel beautiful.
Inside.
Forever beautiful, when you feel beautiful, you are.
Yeah. I have never felt the strain of Tech Week like as much as this year, just because this is such a lead-driven show, and we sing so much, we talk so much, and I could feel it kind of taking a toll on my body, and that's where you have to be careful because you have to make sure that you don't oversing or overwork your body.
Especially with this show, since it's lead driven, it was a lot of stuff like this is what we have to do, and we didn't exactly have a choice whether we could, I guess, fall back on the other leads because we were there constantly. It's always a lot of pressure being a lead because you have to memorize a lot of lines and everything like that. Yeah.
Everybody gets tired. Me included. The older I get, the tighter I am. So you can see, I mean, it's just like in any theater production, even in the industry, people get tired. The difference is in the industry, you don't have to go to school all day and then work all night. So the kids who commit to this activity really want to be here and they want to work hard.
Why so soon? Come on, girlie. Too late now to get home early. Give me all restorative. Miss Arden doesn't give.
Behave.
Sick of living where the hope dies. Hearts ache. Love lies, backs break. Win me one for the gipper. I'm too blind to find my.
Mr. Lewis, miss me. You're dismissed. Get out.
Come out sooner, Kyra. Go ahead.
Vocally for this show was a nightmare actually because I lost my voice the second week of Tech Week, and it was actually kind of funny because Drew McDowell, who graduated, was like notorious for getting sick the week before show, and I was kind of just sat there like, well, we're gonna nurse my voice back to health. So Even though I was at rehearsal singing and everything like that, outside of rehearsal, I very rarely talked to people just because I wanted to keep it in as good a condition as I possibly could.
I was worried about the 2 females because they have to sing a lot. So anytime we'd rerun a number to fix it, I would say, you can mark it, which means you can talk it or you don't have to sing full out. And they really didn't want to do that. I was a little worried about Stella during the couple days before Tech Week, I think. She started to have a sore throat, but the weather was changing. And I said, do you have allergies? Sometimes. So allergies can intervene, but there are things. There are lozenges that we can take that aren't like cough drops. They have other stuff in them that sort of coat your throat. I don't know if you've ever seen their tea bags that are called throat coat. They do the same thing. They have something in that sort of lubricates your throat. The best thing for a singer is not to talk and not to sing, which is really hard when you're in school.
I would get done with rehearsal and I would go right home and just go to bed. And I would be on vocal rest basically every day. You know, I would only like talk in class when I needed to and talk to my friends like if I needed to, but I really tried to go on a vocal rest. But you really just have to make sure that you recharge so then that way for rehearsal you have energy and for the shows that you're not, you know, worn out.
A small lake with such large words. Right in print, plain as day, as I told you verbatim, triclosan, paraben, carmine dye, petrolatum, in a pink frilly box. It's a Trojan horse of toxins, what they put inside of the jar. In the cream, I'm afraid there is white powdered borax. That's the poison I made. Puts on bugs in the floor cracks. My face, cockroach death. But the customers who trusted what they put inside of the jar. Inside of the jar.
You may not have anything to sing today, but you need to be here just like they do, and those poor lighting people that are waiting. Got it? Because I might throw you into doing something while we're moving around. It's your time to be here. It's Tech Week. So I know, like, Owen's here. I saw Owen, right? And Owen doesn't have anything to do today, but he's here. Okay, so please don't ask me questions about those things. You need to be here unless I tell you you don't have to, like yesterday. Got it? Yeah. Like, sent out the word. If you have no choreography, then you don't need to be here. That's not going to happen anymore. Okay, from here on in, welcome to Tech Week.
What are you guys playing today? Do you know?
Act 2.
No fonder than me. You think you've made the grade. You think you earned the win. But when you try to join the club, guess who's not getting in?
How many dances are you doing? Like, how many have you done so far?
I think this is Act 2, like scene 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. So probably like 2/3 of the way through at this point, give or
Are
take.
you even nervous about it anymore? Or you got it all down?
I have a pretty small role, so I'm just kind of hanging out. It's a good time though.
I'm back.
Applause, please. They're getting used to it. Stop. There, Olivia. That's a fun stuff. You're gonna go in between where you're gonna spot. All that solo stuff? Okay, now, well, that's happening. They all go on.
as a tech person, you have to know where everyone is on the stage at all times and write down their blocking for them. We figure out our proppy stuff and set pieces and how they move, and that's when things for tech people start rolling in gear.
It's where you decide how much tape can you really put on the floor before it becomes a distraction. You know, how much can we spike so that we can see what we're doing, or what can't we see, so you need glow tape.
Okay, Abby, you know how we do breadcrumbs, a trail of glow tape? Yes, no? Come here, gotta know. Bring Sydney.
I'm a glow taping.
Oh, okay.
I'm like a trail.
Can you show them, if you take a couple of them, can you go to the other side of the stage and make a little breadcrumb trail from the corner of the proscenium, about a foot apart, halfway?
Yeah.
So those girls that walk out here, and so that Gus who walks out here knows where it's going.
Oh, yeah.
You won't need a lot of them. So she's gonna take a couple of you over there. A couple of you stay here with Ava. Okay, so then you're gonna have a lighting cue.
Okay.
So when she's set, lighting will be able to see her and they'll hit you.
All right.
Cool, so they'll keep doing this.
The lighting kids were coming to rehearsals with nothing to do but watch the show, but that's super important. So they knew the show by the time they were up in that booth, and they didn't have to try and learn the show. All they needed was the cues.
Heads up, third electric's coming in. Okay, so this is the fly rail, also known as the pin rail. So there's 18 of them, and each rope links with a batten that flies in or down or out or up. All right, so you can follow me, and so the most common kind of light that we have are the Fresnel lights, and that's this kind. Each light, you can either face it towards the front of the stage, and that would be called a backlight because it lights the back of the actor, or you can have a light pointed towards the back of the stage, and that would be a front light because it would light the front of the actor.
Our lighting designer was kind of double booked, and we ended up having to change our dates of filming and compact our schedule for him to meet his needs as well. So we only had a lighting crew in here for about a week, and that's rough.
So the lighting designer makes a plot, and I wish I had one here to show you, but it's basically like a long piece of paper with each light and what channel he wants it plugged into, what angle it's at, which general direction it's facing.
But Tech Week is when all of the technical stuff comes together. Orchestra comes together. You do sound and lighting cues. Usually everything is in place on stage to fly or to bring in or to set out in terms of properties.
And so for the show, there will be 3 of us, like 3 students in the booth at showtime. I'll be working, calling the cues on the board and doing these cues. And Hallie Archie and Anna Boothby will be working spotlights.
This year we didn't exactly have an official Tech Week, we had Tech Weeks because we needed to blend in costumes.
If her hair were pulled back like that, or even had a headband on it, and she had a hat in this scene, and you have a book next time, and a hat for that scene, we can just put your military thing on you. If you're not in Fire and Ice, we can figure out what to do with her at the end for the, what's your name, Smite. Good for a wig on her for that. And that can almost be anything at that point, because that's like 50s. They both go all right.
I have my thing on that rack, my costume.
For your 50s costume?
Yeah.
Okay, but you lean this way for necessity.
Necessity.
You go that way for.
I go this way.
You go that way.
Run opposite tendencies.
That's fine. Do you go that way after necessity as well? Should I send your 50s dress over there?
Yeah, we set my yeah.
Okay. Sorry. We were going to keep her in the same one.
As this?
Yeah.
That's fine.
That was the
You
plan.
can do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Different character.
No,
We
she
had decided that
can be that character
It's the
in
same.
that. The only problem is, this is, yeah, it's best face forward. It's not inside the jar. She can be a socialite singing. Yep, you can stay in there.
Okay.
We didn't use our dressing rooms. We used other spaces in the school. Figure out how many people could be in a space, how many people we would need to dress. Would we need adults to dress people? So that took a week.
Every day of the last tech week, we constantly ran in costume. So it really gets you into your character.
Mr. Lewis.
Okay, good enough. That's all we need. We got hats and suits, right? Yep. Groovy. Okay, so let's go from, that's right, keys and cool stuff. Cufflinks, yeah. Okay, so let's crisscross and off. Now, do either one of you have a fast change coming up?
I have a change now.
But you have time.
Yeah.
Hasta la vista, boys.
A lot of the costume changes were just nuts.
My costume changes, my quick changes, I had a page for one of them, and then I had half a page to do the other one. So I was kind of like really quick. Luckily, I had a good dresser with me who was able to get me there really quickly.
Ruthless, but as toothless as their rods. They're dinosaurs. Larger than life, anyway.
And they last in eons.
Love them, they're the stuff of lore.
Life don't grow a mammoth anymore. Never was.
Ever was any bigger since. Maybe the Smithsonian should mount their friggin' footprints.
I think I have about 5 costume changes, but that doesn't include like ties and things like that. So I wear this coat and a suit under it for my first scene, and then in the next scene that I'm in, I take off the coat and hat, but it's still the same costume.
Gonna spend my golden years where fossils go to die.
Where?
Sunset Village, Florida.
Oh, sweet Jesus, so am I.
Here to share a pied-a-terre
Of yours to albino genus. Why don't
I would say I have like 4 suits that I wear, but each of them has like probably 2 different times that I wear it with different ties.
We have like 45 seconds to like change and come back out. We have to do that twice within the song.
That's stressful.
It's so stressful. I'm so scared that I'm not going to be able to do it in time.
It's definitely a lot of chaos. You have actors running on and off stage, quick changes.
Both girls had 10 costume changes. I'm sure Stella did, and I know Stella changed her shoes at least once, maybe twice.
And there was a quick change at the end where I even had, so I had my 3 dressers and then I had 2 more dressers. So towards the end there were 5 people helping me plus Frau.
5 dressers for the last scene because it was a 20 to 30 second change. A lot of their clothing that they wore had shoulder pads in naturally, or was women's formal wear. I cleaned out my whole wardrobe for these 2 girls. Stella wore a lot of my clothes. Kyra had a couple suits that belonged to me, and a lot of other things that we had borrowed or made. We had some things custom made for them as well, especially for Kyra to imitate the stuff that was in the Broadway production.
I had these huge pieces of jewelry on me, just basically at all times. And I had
these giant necklaces that were actually made on dog collars because there were so many multiple rows of things that we had to just be able to clip it on her. She didn't get those until a few days before we actually filmed. So that's like an extra 5 to 7 pounds on your neck as a singer.
It was kind of weird at first to get used to singing with these huge pieces around your neck, especially because they were like really close to my neck. But it actually wasn't too bad, and you just kind of get used to it.
Then you can roll back in. Done. Done. Okay, let's try it.
I used to dance, and I had like 1 or 2 solos, and most of it I kind of just think of it as dancing, and I'm like really comfortable with dancing, so that's kind of like not like super nervous. The first time I was nervous, but as we've done it, it's become more comfortable.
Theater people are athletes. I know a lot of people probably don't think of it that way, but you have to train, you have to be fit, you have to be able to dance for 8 hours in shoes that, you know, are like that. The men are in dress shoes for this show.
For me, it's actually easier than I would think,
Yeah.
at least for this song.
Yeah, I remember choreo more than I remember the song.
There's like a lot of stepping and stuff, like you have to really be in sync with one another.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a bit of a challenge.
Have you guys mainly like just practiced in rehearsal, or did you have to do anything like outside, like together, or?
Well, I mean, usually it's just rehearsal, but like a couple times if we have like doubts, I guess, we would just go into that cafeteria, this one, with the whole with everyone that's in Fire and Ice and just practice.
Fire and Ice. That one was just a big, flashy, showy, kind of more stereotypical, showy musical number. So we got to have really sparkly costumes and do a little bit more of some sassy movements. So that was a really fun one.
The unit behind us was lit from behind to look and feel like a cosmetics unit in an old-time store.
So now we just need a couple more like extensions. We have like the channels marked for the ones that aren't plugged in. We usually set that right before Tech Week, so that's what we did last Saturday and Sunday.
There's usually a very long rehearsal on the Saturday before we open a show. We broke that up this year because of COVID to kind of get people out of the building and have them take a break and then come back.
All right, so this is the front closet. We just have like a bunch of stuff in here. A lot of the boxes are labeled by a show, so like you'll see like Midsummer props, 1776 props, and yeah, there's like a lot of like fabrics, materials, props, set pieces, like little things. So like we have like a lot of like old props from other shows. Like if you remember, this is from when we did Midwinter Night Stream in the fall of 2019. And yeah, just like a bunch of like odds and ends in here.
Mm-hmm. And what are you like doing right now? Are you
right now I'm trying to find a plate about this size or smaller that they need for war paint.
So we got here at like 10, but then I actually had to come earlier because Sydney batted my hair. And so I think I got here at like 9:10. So I've been here for even longer.
Mm-hmm. And it's what time right now? Like 2:30 or something?
It is 2:30, yeah, and then the break ends at 3.
And it started at what time?
1.
And you guys had like a lunch break and stuff?
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
So was that like a good amount of time to kind of reset, or?
Yeah, I'd say so, because like it's not too long where like you get out of the rhythm of things, but it was definitely like long enough to rest a little. And I know like some people left. I didn't leave this time, but you know.
So some people leave to go home, or like get food?
Yeah, I think like some people go home, some people go and get food, some people go home to get food. But I just decided to stay. It was just easier for me, so.
And like how much longer do you guys have? Like if you had to estimate, I know sometimes it's not like a set time.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like maybe like 5:30, 6. That's where I would say probably we'll go to.
So pretty much like a full day of work.
Yeah,
basically.
Take you off and say, don't do that again. Don't throw that ball that way. Don't. Let him give you the ball and run. Okay, we're good. Back in. I can't do that. Like, time. Get that table. Get that table. We're gonna fix that table. Okay, we're good. Okay, show again. Go ahead, Mr. Peters. Like, we can't do that. We don't have any of those things. You have to do it. And it's amazing what really quiet, shy, demure, scared kids can do once they come to drama. Did you ever notice that? You should hear the cool things teachers say about you guys. Like,
you're kidding. She does that, he does, you're kidding. Because in class, you're probably like, you have your hand up? Oh, really? Oh, no, good. Yeah? True? This is how you learn. This is how you learn life. This is the best way to learn life.
The extract of calf placenta, gelatinous hoof of horse. The senator shall be sent a note anonymously.
Of course.
Oh, that's rich.
The scientist from the shtetl. It's pure kitsch. The chemistry she invents.
There are some adults in the pit. If the part isn't covered by a student, they'll hire adults to play.
And you, Madam Rubinstein, hope to do the same.
So the flute players had special masks that they could put their flute through and still have the mask over it. Obviously, as saxophone players, we couldn't do that because our reeds are too delicate and stuff like that, and we didn't want to take the risk of like having a mask that opens up and chipping a reed and then ruining the entire show. So we just pulled our mask down whenever we played, and as soon as we were done, we pulled it back up. But we did have bell covers, they call them, which were just pieces of fabric that went around bell of our instrument to block any air or spit that would be coming out.
I would say that COVID hasn't really hindered us much at all. It's just kind of altered some procedures. For example, we're not letting it limit our abilities on stage at all, but the tech people are wearing gloves while they move things and handle props. We are constantly washing our hands. Everybody is wearing masks at all times. We do have these altered masks on stage.
Melding rehearsal time with COVID school time and all the cleaning. We did so much cleaning, cleaning, spraying, cleaning, washing hands. We took hand washing breaks, and I thought, you know what, this just chips away at all your time together when you have to take a 15-minute cleaning break always. But I never heard anybody complain, nobody like, oh, we gotta go clean our hands. Nothing. It was just, we knew we had to do it, so we did it. So I would say balancing the COVID stuff was an accomplishment.
Of course, I've met her myself. That young go-getter myself. And maybe better myself before I bettered myself. With all this style.
I'm usually pretty calm. Like, obviously there are some nerves, but once we get to shows, you've done it enough times to know how everything is, and you just have to be ready in case there is an emergency and just be really focused and aware at all times.
There are times where I'm definitely not anxious, but just like stressed out. I know during one of the shows I accidentally hit one of the signs on the door as it was coming off, and that was a very stressful moment. But for the most part, I try to stay calm so that if something happens, I can be there for whoever like messed it up, even if it wasn't their fault. Like, we had a lot of problems with our red door not being able to move.
We have a big giant door unit, a 10-foot tall door unit that's Elizabeth Arden's salon, and the casters weren't spinning. And every time we looked at it, it was fine.
She's coming, she's coming, she's coming, she's coming. She's here.
So we greased it. We we couldn't tell what was going to happen. And our last filming, it got stuck. I don't know if it got stuck in like a divot in the floor or we have a bad wheel, but it's too late. Like, you got to go with it. And I could have stopped the show because we were filming and said, no, I didn't like that. Let's do that again. But I wanted them to deal with it. And they did in a very unusual way, but they dealt with it and it was fine.
Everyone wants the show to go well, so it's hard on everyone when something goes wrong.
So sometimes stress is really good when it's productive and it brings people together, you know, in the midst of all that chaos.
All things to Mom, Elizabeth Arden. Heaven on earth is open from 9 to 4. Monday through Friday. Behind the red door. Refresh, replenish, renew. Behind the red door. Until tomorrow, adieu. Behind the red door.
Many thanks to the folks who let you be here and do these things. I understand. I totally get it, and I care. I do. I'm not just trying to keep you here forever. We have work to do, and we did it, and it's excellent. Okay? So tomorrow, let's try to run super smart. Okay? That means everywhere, not just every now and then. Got it? Okay. Hugs? Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred.
Today, feeling a little stressed because we spent, I think, it was 2 hours total hanging these mics on stage, and we tried them today, and it didn't do anything. And so we have to mic 5 extra chorus people, I think, which means extra mic switches backstage during the show. So that's where I'm at.
How long does it take to like figure that out and stuff?
To do the logistics of it, I think, how long did you work for? For like the majority of that one. Yeah, to figure it out on the spreadsheet. So it's been.
And what was like the issue? Like
basically it's just not because of the masks and because of the kind of microphones we have, it just wasn't picking up people's voices as much as it needed to. And we were getting a lot of like ringing in the background that was just not what you want to see.
I don't think I perceive stress the same way that the students perceive it. Problems don't ask you when you'd like to have them appear. They just appear.
21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28.
So when we have them counting, we're trying to listen to that the different actors, listen how they sound, and trying to get a feel for at least a beginning. We're getting a start at where we're going to try to set things up so that we can then proceed from there to really get into a fine tuning when we're mixing, when the action's actually happening.
Allison Beck, who is in charge of the board, you know, has to do some quick down and dirty checking, like who could it be and where's the sound coming from.
If you look right there, we've got like these guys hanging, and we had to like bring the whole curtain down and like string them up there. If you turn around, you might be able to see the wires, and that took forever.
You probably can't see
them. And
them.
they don't work at all.
When you hang these lights, it's just to be able to pick up like the actors without having to like mic all of them, or?
Yeah, so when we have the numbers with like a lot of chorus people back here, they don't have microphones because we just don't have enough for them.
The people in the sound booth are asking questions like, how many mics can we run at once? What happens if the orchestra is too loud? So it's all these components, and everybody, each one of them has their own kind of stressor and their own kind of fallout. So, you know, in the sound booth, you can lose a mic at any time. It could be batteries, could be a component goes bad, could be something in your system, and you're always ready for that. But when it happens, it rocks your world because you know it's happening not just to you in the sound booth, it's happening to that person or people on stage. And then that has repercussions for the people in the pit who now can't hear you because you don't have a microphone. And then we're all in a panic in the back.
It's stressful only in that it's all stressful. For me, it's all kind of a plateau. I'm most anxious when there's a real audience sitting in the seats. And I'm not so much anxious or nervous as I am, I really try to channel that energy into a focus, into really being ready to handle whatever comes up.
So for the show this year, we are going to film on Friday and Saturday. We will all be allowed to have 2 family members at each filming. So we do have a very small live audience, and that definitely changes how we perform on stage, because a lot of times we play so much off of the audience's reactions. So am I disappointed that we don't have a full live audience? Yes, but I'm just happy to have anybody in the house at all while we perform.
So we got a nice.
I told you, I recognize it too.
So I have 2 solos. I think one's in Act 1 and one's in Act 2. It's not that nerve-wracking just because I'm in the back, so no one can really see me anyways. But if I was sitting in the front, then yeah. Because in the previous musical that we did, I had another solo, and that was nerve-wracking because I was in the front and people could see me and you could hear me clearly. But it's okay, it's okay. We'll be fine.
Singing the same note, it's just weird. Okay? Yep. Thank you.
Love what you're doing in that moment in time. Got it? And show them. Ready? Yep. All right. Break one for me.
You can't just watch theater either from one seat. You have to realize that people are watching it from all over the venue. And you have to be aware that what looks really good in one place in the theater might look really bad in another if you don't get it right. So I run around a lot. I'm also listening for sound, like the sound difference between being up close and far away. If there's a blend, I sometimes will jump back at the sound booth and say, ride them over or bring them down or whatever. But I'm trying to be everywhere at the same time.
During a show, I am normally watching and I am sometimes very nervous for, all the students on stage, just because I know how well they've been doing, and it's their time to shine. So I sometimes feel like a stage mom, standing in the back just hoping for the absolute best to happen, the absolute best that I've seen them practice the weeks leading up to this moment. So that's fun. It's kind of full of anticipation, and I just feel like a little stage mom back there.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, out, in, hold, hit. 2, 3, 4.
For us 4 leads, the thing I was most proud of was definitely, oh, that's rich, just because those harmonies were horridly close together and we pulled it off every night.
Of power, such a stitch, these ponies who wheel and deal, just one stitch. Elizabeth Arden will not cower, now they know the Rubinstein spine of steel.
I have so many laugh lines. I play with the audience a lot. It's really critical to this role to have an audience, and to have an audience reacting and cheering with you and crying with you and smiling with you, and that's what really makes the experience so authentic, and knowing that I can perform for these people, and even if they're having the worst day, maybe one of my lines put them in a better mood. That brings me so much joy, being able to bring others into the world of the play and really convince them that I'm Helena Rubinstein and not Stella.
But in the painting, it is always your pride, right? Tema dialectica, she was bisexual. You see her love for me, well, it's subtextual. My lifelong fight is to keep my figure slim, but now I eat 'cause Giacometti keeps me slim.
7 guest rooms. When was the last time she even had a visitor? She's old and scared. Wouldn't you be?
What I'm looking forward to the most is probably everything coming together, but it will definitely be very bittersweet because this is my last musical here at Avonworth. But I'm really excited to be in costume and have all of our props together and just be able to have fun with the other 3 leads on stage, Stella, Killian, and Peyton. So yeah, that's going to be probably the best part.
Man to man, queen to queen, on a par, in our fall from grace, as we are, star to star, standing face to face.
Tomorrow, the people who are here, you owe them a fabulous performance. Period. No matter who they are. I don't care if you know them or not. I don't care if you live with them. I don't care if you hate them. Right? Every night is opening night for the audience. For them, it's their first time. Every night is opening night. Oh, yep. So you have 3 opening nights. And one of them happens to be closing. I can't make you do anything. But if this means something to you, make it mean something to them. It says volumes. It says volumes. When teachers know that you love what you do and you're proud of it, you ask Alex, ask Jessica, ask what that does for you for the rest of your life. It changes you for the rest of your life. It does. It teaches you how to love and how to enjoy and how to work really hard and reap the benefits of that. Okay? That was the time! Yeah! Just waking you up. Sorry. Just making sure.